welcome everybody.
Hi.
I'm going to make a mad dash to get everybody in. Okay, there we go. Welcome.
Morgan, I'm here if you want to make me co-host.
Already did. Hopefully you see it.
We'll see. Oh yeah, it's working.
Excellent. All right, I'm going to closely watch for those who are coming in. So Patty, you are going to show the slides from your screen.
Yes.
Okay, good. Excellent. Welcome everybody. I have had a flurry of messages from folks. My gosh, there's some stuff going on.
Yes, there is.
Ah, deep breath, right?
Always. For you early birds, you want to put your name and location in the enroll in the chat box, just for fun.
Are you able to rename yourselves at all? Is that an option? I don't know what the setting is on this one.
Yes.
So. Okay.
I think we should be able to. Oh wait, I'm a co-host. I don't know. Anyone else can confirm that? Most people actually have their names on there.
Yeah, I think it's important, to have the name as you want to be addressed. I know I have colleagues who have their title on there, and so when you're talking, and we'll be in small breakout rooms, it's hard to address someone as DOE federal programs.
So. Well, let's try a little experiment. For those who are here, try to rename yourself and add your location. So I just did that to mine.
I'm in Rockland, where we got hit with wicked wind Sunday night.
Yeah, we did.
Woke me up.
Uh-oh. Can you hear me, Morgan?
Yes.
I just froze on my screen, so I'm gonna quit, but I'll come back.
Okay.
Okay. Trust me.
I do.
Oh, wait, that seems to be working better. Maybe I'll give it another shot.
You seem fine. You're not frozen from this end.
No, all of you were.
Ah. So folks, as you're coming in, I just want to say welcome, and you have been invited to rename yourselves, your name, because we'll be talking in small groups. You want to keep your name so people can speak to you directly, and tell us where you are.
Yeah, Morgan, I'm going to restart. Sorry.
Okay. Welcome, folks. We're getting fired up. We had 83 people register for this event, but there's lots of stuff going on. So I'm not sure exactly how many will show up, but we've got lots of folks coming in. So when you come in, if you want to rename yourselves and tell us where you are, you can tell your town or your school if you'd rather, however you'd like to indicate that. We will be talking in small groups, so sometimes it just helps to have somebody's name and an idea of where they are. Joy, you must still be at school.
Is my mic working?
Whoever just said, is my mic working?
Oh,
I'll say,
nobody's
yes, it is.
responding.
We can
Oh,
hear
it
you.
is?
Is that Jessica asking?
Yes, I'm at school.
Welcome, everybody. I'm busy letting folks in. Patty has asked if you would, if you can change your name and add your location afterwards. We'll be talking in small groups. And so sometimes it helps just to know where somebody is. You can name your town, you can name your school, whatever you're comfortable with. Oh, thank goodness Patty's coming back in.
Can anyone hear me?
Is that Jessica?
Yes, that was me. You can hear me?
We can hear you.
Good. Okay, so clearly I missed something and I haven't yet figured out how to change my name to show where I'm from.
So if you go down to, well, first of all, if you put your cursor over your box with your picture on it, you should see 3 dots. What happens when you click on those 3 dots? Do you see an option that says rename? That would be the place. Patty, I'm really glad you made it back.
Made it. I had to restart my whole computer.
You know, the thing about working like this, working from home, is that I'll start my computer and go days without ever doing anything more than putting it to sleep. And it really needs to be restarted pretty frequently. It's like you've got to shut it down every day, make it intentional.
Yeah, that happens at work too, actually.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, because I'm still at work.
All right, folks, welcome. I want to say, I'm happy to see so many folks here. It is exactly 3:30. If you don't mind, I'd like to wait just a moment. I think there might be a flood of folks coming in just at this moment. Patty has asked that you rename yourself and tell us where you are. We will be working in small groups. So if you'd like to have your first name or the way that you want people to address you in small group discussions, make sure that's on your name tag and where you are, just so we know. It's a little easier when you're talking to someone to get a sense of where they are.
So while we're waiting, you guys want to play a little game? So when I get all my kids on Zoom, I like to start them with a game to get them to turn their cameras on, so then they think they have to turn it on for a game. And it works because they want to play. So your screen's on, your camera's on right now. We're going to play rock, paper, scissors. Rock, paper, scissors. And I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and you throw something out. If you match me or beat me, you keep your camera on. But if I can beat you, you have to turn your camera off. Okay? You guys ready? Rock, paper, scissors. We're going on a 3 count. Rock, paper, scissors. Oh, I did what I said. So anybody that's what is it? Scissors beats paper. Oh, paper people are out. Turn your videos off. Turn your video off if you were paper. Everyone else is still in. We're going again. Put your hands up where we can see them. No cheating. This also gets them to get their hands and face in the camera a little more, because you know how they like to show us their ceilings. So here we go. Rock, paper, scissors. Anybody that was scissors, you're out. Turn your video off. Going again. Ready? Rock, paper, scissors. Oh, I did scissors again. Anybody that was paper, you're out. Turn your video off. Going again. Ready? Rock, paper, scissors. I did rock. I hear someone talking, but I don't know what they're saying. So anybody that was scissors, you're out. Going again. Rock, paper, scissors. Oh, I did paper. That gets rock. Rock people are out. I gotta see if I can do a bigger view and see I don't know how many people are left. Okay, we're gonna go again. There's still people left. Here we go. Rock, paper, scissors. Tricky. Okay, if you're paper, you're out. Ready to go again. Rock, paper, scissors. I did it again. Anybody paper, you're out. Going again. Rock, paper, scissors. Oh, 3 in a row. Anybody get that? Anybody that's paper, you're still out. All right. I'm not sure how many people are left. I think there are only a few. Oh, wow.
Very few. Yep.
Yeah, maybe 3, 4. Okay, here we go. Going again. Rock, paper, scissors. Oh, did I trick anybody? Paper's out. Who's left still playing? Because I feel like Beth Reed might be the only. Wait, Lauren Brown, are you playing still? No, Beth, you are the winner. You're the big winner. So what I do with the kids is then I let that kid be in charge, and
and I'm the kid trying to get out because I'm doing 2 meetings at the same time.
I only do it if I have them all in the same meeting, because then it's not fun for the rest of them. But it's fun little play. There's lots of little games like that. You can do odd or even, where you're just throwing an odd or an even out. Same thing, same concept. How are we doing there? Morgan, you want to start? What do you think?
Yes. So the first thing I'd like to do is I'm going to throw up a poll and ask you all to please respond to this poll.
Whoa.
Okay, you should all see a poll on your screen.
Fun. I like a good poll. Ooh. Keeps changing. Variety out there. Wow. 25 of 38 have voted. Woohoo. Getting closer. 10 more left to vote.
If you're just coming in, hopefully you can see this poll, but I think that people who come in after the poll is launched don't see it. It's kind of like when you have a chat box.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Who has a timer and everything? 35 of 39 have voted. 40% are like me with a semester, by semester with a new semester beginning in January. It's really fairly even though. All right, your timer started. Is your timer starting over, Morgan?
I don't know what it's, oh no, that's the timer that's telling you how long it's been posted.
Oh, okay.
So we're gonna call this good. You have some information there. 42% in January's same classes, 25 get new classes, and 22% have trimesters. Okay, that's some interesting data for us to keep in mind. Hopefully you can all see that. So we're going to talk about that a little bit as we get started. So Patty, if you want to put the slides up.
Yep.
Great.
I love how many clicks you have to make to get the slides up.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, I can't even see past the poll. The poll's in the way. Can we close the poll?
Yes.
Okay, that's good because I'm doing lots of crazy clicking around and the poll's in my way of my Google Doc.
Okay, there?
No, the poll's still there. Can you make it go away?
Just in the way for you.
Oh, it's in my way. How do I make it go away? Oh,
there you
go. Okay, woo, that was something. All right, we almost have it, folks. Here we go. Slide sharing, there it is. And I'm going to do that, okay. And I don't know if you want to put speaker view on or something like that.
Okay, as we get started, you're right. Folks, we are going to record this. It already was recording. We were recording from the start. I did set that because I do have a tendency to forget. Okay, thank you. Welcome. Happy to see everybody. We're launching today the first session of the Distance Learning Playbook. Will you please advance the screen? Advance the slide, Patty? Thanks. So we want to talk a little bit about the session norms. We want to make sure that you mute yourself. We're inviting you to turn off your camera when we're in the general session, when we're all together. that does a couple of things. It gives you some relief from looking at yourself, because I think we do that a lot all during the day. But it also helps with bandwidth for folks. We encourage you to use the chat box. It's a nice way to stay connected, and I will be monitoring that. We ask that you listen with an open mind. We're going to, through this series, I'm sure that we will be challenging some of your beliefs and practices. So just please listen with an open mind. And we invite you to always engage in collaborative discussion. The discussions are key. So that's really important that you participate in those with a collaborative intent. So I want to tell you a little bit about how this series is working. We want to make sure you understand that this text is a playbook. It's not a handbook. It's a playbook. And I can tell you, Doug Fisher and Nancy Frey love using sports metaphors in a lot of their PD. So it makes sense that they're naming this a playbook. It's not a handbook, and it's not a read it cover to cover. It's a playbook of the actions you can take based on what's happening in the moment. The organization of how we are studying the plays have been carefully considered by the teacher leaders, who are planning and facilitating all of these sessions. And so we're not following, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3 organization. We really talked very extensively about what's going on in our schools right now and what we need to do in order to be ready for a possible reset. And that's what we want you to think about, a reset. At the end of this semester, or the end of this trimester, or whenever a natural reset might occur for you, we want to think about what we've learned so far, what happened in the spring, what we learned from that, how we started differently with this school year, and how we've learned even from that, and we can reset and do things differently going forward. We want to make sure that you understand that the sessions are not every single week. We've tried to time it so that you have a little break, you get a couple of sessions, and then there's a little break for you to do some reflecting and a little bit of homework, which means looking at your own practices and gathering some of your own data. You need to know that each session ends with a feedback form, which must be completed for contact hours. So once you fill out the feedback form, you'll be prompted to click on a link to get your contact hours. Please make sure you save those to your local memory. So I saw there was a question about reset, and what we want to say about reset, consider the reset, is so at the end of the semester, maybe there's a chance for you to do some things differently, to change how you're practicing. It doesn't have anything to do with remote or in person. It has more to do with your own classroom practice and how you and your relationship with students and the things that you're working on. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. That word reset, I think, is going to come up more over the ensuing sessions. So just kind of keep that in your mind as we go forward. If you would advance to the next slide. So I just want to be clear, I'm Morgan Dunton. Sorry, I should have introduced myself, but you guys have been hearing from me anyway. So you'll contact me for questions about Zoom, for any of the housekeeping topics, that kind of thing. So I will take care of the logistical details. But you will be meeting lots of teachers who are working on, just like you, who have the classroom experience, and they're providing you with their content as well, with their contact. So you can reach out to them at any time. And with that, I'm very happy to turn this session over to Patty Forster, who will introduce herself to you.
Okay, so welcome, friends, and thank you for coming and sharing this time with us today. I'm here because I believe this year more than ever, educators must take care of themselves. I'm also here because I believe this is an important year for us to help each other. And so that's why I'm here doing this workshop today. So the little contact information, just want you to know that Morgan will send this slideshow out to you afterwards, and it's available. It'll be available on the DOE website. So our contact info and any links that I put in the slideshow will be available to you. Morgan, do you need to change the speaker view? Because I see you.
Oh, really?
I don't know.
So, okay, so here's what I'm going to do.
We see whoever is speaking.
Okay, good, good, good. Well, she's also for the recording, but yeah, that worked. Perfect. Thanks. All right, so moving on. So module 1, we decided to start with module 1. It's very, very important. The learning intentions shared in the book were, number 1, I'm learning about the impact of trauma on educators, and I'm learning to take care of myself as I engage with my students. Both very important intentions. And I really thought about the intentions I wanted for this webinar. And so here's my personal intentions. Number 1 is to get us to slow down. When I got the distance learning playbook, I read it as fast as I could. I didn't answer any of those questions because I didn't have time for that. I needed answers. So now this workshop is a really good opportunity to slow down and actually really try to think about and process, reflect with other people. And so that's my second intention, is that we use these workshops as a way to connect and support each other in this process and through what we're going through. Finally, I kind of picked this idea up from a book I'll tell you about in a second, but this idea of hurrying slowly. We are hurrying because we want the answers, we want to figure things out, but we also need to slow down. And it comes from a Latin term, festina lente, which I picked up from this book called Reader Come Home. It's phenomenal. I highly recommend it. If you don't have time to read, get an audiobook. I drive a half an hour to work every day and I listen to audiobooks on my time. And I love this quote, that we need to recover a rhythm of time that allows you to attend with consciousness and attention. And so that's what I'm asking you guys to try to do in these workshops. And it's what I try to get my kids to do with their reading, is like, slow it down and let's really think about what we're getting from it. So let's take a few deep breaths here. We're going to take 3 deep breaths because we are in the middle of a pandemic and we are all exhausted. So let's all just do that. There's 1. 3 collective deep breaths. There's 2. And that's 3. We have to keep breathing when we get stressed and tensed and we're going through what we've been going through for months and months on end. We need to keep breathing. We are all exhausted in the midst of this. It doesn't matter how on top of things somebody might seem or how behind somebody else might seem. Right now, every teacher I talk to and I ask how they're doing, they say they're exhausted. It's because of all that we're dealing with. It's because of what we've been experiencing. And in the chapter, it talked about, in the module, it talked about compassion fatigue. But I've also learned about some other things like surge depletion and burnout that I want to add to this. And so to support ourselves in the midst of a pandemic, we have to have knowledge about what we're going through. We have to understand that this is not normal. We have to understand that we are giving a lot and that we need to recognize that that creates stress on us and our families as well. So compassion fatigue was talked about in the book, so I'm not going to spend too much time about it. But, you know, we are educators and we care about our kids and we have so much compassion for them. And in the midst of the pandemic last spring and our kids that we lost on the remote learning shift, we were compassionate for them. We cared about them and we were fatiguing ourselves with how much we cared about these kids we were losing. And we are still doing it some to that extent this year, even though some of us have had the opportunity to do some in-person connecting as well. So recognizing that that has symptoms, it makes us tired, it makes us stressed. The other thing, and again, there's a link to an article that talks about COVID-19 fatigue as a teacher, linked there. You can check it out later. This quote is from another article where Terry Bogue mentions that the fundamental trap that causes compassion fatigue is a focus on other people and their needs before focusing on your own self-care needs. The more we care for ourselves, the more we have to give to others. And if we neglect caring for ourselves, we have very little left to give to others. So I learned about this concept of surge depletion and I found it fascinating. I believe I heard about it from Brene Brown on her Unlocking Us podcast. And surge capacity is this ability in the midst of a trauma or an emergency that we always get this burst of adrenaline and we can do more than anybody would have ever expected we could do. And that is kind of what we did last spring. We had the surge capacity. It was like, let's take this on. We can do this. It's just crazy, but we can do it. And then there came a point where we became depleted because it continued. And it happens even in an emergency, right after an emergency, all that adrenaline, people are exhausted. Well, we've had all this adrenaline, and we're exhausted, and it keeps going. So we are depleted. This mentions a little bit about what surge capacity is, what I talked about, and it says that humans draw on their surge capacity for short-term survival in acutely stressful situations such as a natural disaster. But in yellow, natural disasters occur over a short period, even if recovery is long. Pandemics are different. The disaster itself stretches out indefinitely. We do not know how long we are going to need to be dealing with this. And then there's burnout, which many of us are feeling at this point in time, all of these expectations and things that are being asked of us, and it is stressing some of us out. And again, Brene Brown brought in some great writers. We've written a book on burnout, Emily and Amelia Nagoski. I put a link there to an article, but the book, I have a friend that got the book and she says it's so, so good. I haven't read it yet myself. But we're gonna try something out to think about burnout. This is an activity I learned about too. You can try it with your kids if you want to. You can write on my screen. So we're gonna try this. I'm gonna ask you to look at our three things: compassion fatigue, surge depletion, and burnout, and to put a stamp at your level on each one where you are right now. So the way that you do a stamp is up at the top of your screen. Scroll to the top. You have to put your mouse on your screen. Scroll to the top of your screen, and it will say that you're viewing Patty Forster's screen. And to the right of that should be View Option tab. So you can follow along. You click on that, there's a little arrow, you click on that, and it gives you a menu where you can choose Annotate. When you choose Annotate, one of the options is a stamp. When you click on the stamp, it gives you options of icons like hearts and arrows and I don't know what else.
You know what, Patty? I don't see Annotate.
It's not working on this one? Oh, we tried it out today.
We tried it when you launched it on your Zoom. You might have something different in your Zoom.
That's no fun.
I know. I didn't know that. I'll have to look this up. This is really...
a setting. You have to allow users to annotate. We tried it with mine earlier. Oh, it was fun. You guys missed out. Try it out on if you're using Zoom. They can annotate and they can actually put little stamps there. Since that's not working, do you have a poll waiting?
I do. Let me look at poll.
Do a poll again then. We were prepared for plan B. Here it is. We're just gonna sum it all up in pandemic fatigue, all three of these. Where are you right now? Whew. Yeah, quite a few of us are in the middle. I feel like that's where I am, but I'm an optimist, so I probably rank myself in the middle, and maybe I'm a little bit higher than I want to believe.
There, excellent.
That's 40 out of 41. Yep. So 53% of us, half of us, are in at a 3. So we're tired, but we're still pulling it off. We've got one person ready to run a marathon. You probably are a runner, because I would never be ready to run a marathon. And somebody's can barely function. So I hope that some things that we have you do today help you recognize the things you might need to do to help in that area. And about 11 people are at a 2. So we have a lot of us that are exhausted, which is understandable considering. All right, so can I get control of that poll to make it go away? I have to move things around. Okay, so continuing on. Amelia Nagoski, one of the 2 authors of the book Burnout, she says the goal isn't to live in a state of perpetual balance and peace and calm, although that's often my goal. Right now, that's hard to achieve. The goal, she says, is to move through the stress to the calm, so that you're ready for the next stressor, because we are going to continue to have stressors this year, and to move from effort to rest and back again, because we have to keep going. We're still in this pandemic, and the pandemic's still going, and some of us will be shifting from remote to hybrid to back again. So we have to move through these stressors and then come back again. So we have to keep making space for that. So my big question then going into the chapter is, how do we move through the pandemic stress and trauma that we're in to calm, rest, and back again? How do we do that? And so Fisher and Frey suggest that we need to support ourselves. We need to be supporting ourselves. And one of the first things in that module was personal support. And I think about, for myself, when I go home and on the weekends, how do I rest, recover, and rejuvenate every time, because I'm so tired in the work week. And so I'm always thinking of what I could do. What do I need to do? What is my body telling me to do? But they also talked about 3 specific things: workspace, routines, and connections, and how these can also add to our personal support. So talking about workspace, to start with, I thought I'd show you my workspace from today. So that's my workspace. That's my stand-up desk, and I have 2 computers, which helps me function a little bit better. I've got my mouse to try to prevent carpal tunnel syndrome, and that's my desk over there. And on my desk, it's not perfectly clean. What it has is the things that I like to have around me right now. So I have books that inspire me sitting there, because they're the ones that I've been researching in over the past year. I have books that I want to read sitting there, and I have things that I need immediately, like sticky notes and a protein drink. And I have a stack of sticky notes of things I need to do. So that's my workspace, and it's what I figured out works for me. And it's really important to figure out what works for you. And another thing I read about recently was this idea of resetting the room. So when I leave a room, I should reset it the way it was. When I leave my classroom, or if I was working at home, I should reset it at the end of the workday to the way it was, so that it's ready for me the next day. And I get a little lazy at home sometimes. I like to sit in my comfy chair with a blanket and a pillow, and I get up to go to bed and I throw that pillow and that blanket down. And so I've been trying to fold my blanket and reset the room more properly, so it's nice for me the next day. So thinking about resetting the room, I think, is important with our workspace. And then that brings us to routines. Routines are so important this year. What routines can we create for ourselves that make our lives easier? Everything we can do to make our lives easier, like having things out where we use them and need them. I take 2 water bottles to school every day, and my routine now is leave them on the counter. They're ready for me in the morning, ready to fill up, versus up in the cupboard, so I don't forget them. It's a routine. I've created it. It works. My routine this year, I started before school started, is to stretch every morning. I've never stretched in the morning in my life. And this year I thought I better do it. I better create this routine. And I have, and it's made a huge difference for me. So what kind of routines can you create to make this year, this moment, work easier for you? I've even gone to, this is my Monday shirt and my Monday mask that goes with my shirt. I just, every day it's the same clothes, so I don't have to think, because we make a lot of decisions every day. So we are going to go in a breakout group now, and we have a prompt. So I want you to think about your morning routine at home and or at school. So when I get up in the morning, I stretch. First thing I do is, before I even get out of bed, I do my back stretches. And then I take my shower, then I make my lunch. So I've got my routine. So what's your current morning routine, either at home or at school? When I get to school, I put my lunch bag in my cupboard instead of leaving it out. And I get my computers out and ready, and I review my lesson for the day. That's my morning routine. What's your morning routine? So you're going to go in these groups. You're going to share what you do. You can focus on school. You can focus on home, or if school is at home, focus on that, and brainstorm after you've shared what you do. One thing you could do to make each of those, or even just one of those, a little bit better for you, one idea. And then hopefully you'll jot that idea down. So our plan is that you're going to be in groups of 3 people.
There's 2 groups that'll have 4 people, but all the rest will have 3.
And we put in for 6 minutes on this. That's about 2 minutes each. And please have someone be a timekeeper so everyone gets to share. If you are the group of 4, you'll have to shave that off just a little bit. Okay? So let's do it. Let's put them in groups.
By the way, I jotted those prompts in the chat box, so you've got them ready.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to pause I'm resuming the recording. We've just finished the first breakout discussion. And
So as you folks are coming back into the room, if you could put in the chat just a single idea, a morning routine improvement idea that might have come up in that conversation. Just one idea in the chat, if you could type that in right now. Ooh, iron the night before. Thanks, Marsha. Taking showers in the evening instead of the morning. Oh, I can't do that, Nancy. I am a morning shower person. Uniform, yes, I love wearing the same thing. Like, have the plan, never have to decide about clothes. Yep, thank you. Yes, Tanya, stretching in the morning is going to change your life. It really has changed mine. I feel so much better. Oh yeah, setting up the coffee tea service night before, very good. Thank you so much, those of you that are typing things in there. I appreciate that. Ooh, Melinda, 5-minute journaling each morning. I was just thinking how I want to get up and actually have an extra 5 minutes that I could read. So that's a great idea, to have something positive for self versus just getting ready for work.
I appreciate Martha's comment about not reading news first thing in the morning. That's
yeah. It's, although I heard it's getting a little better. So a few more positive stories in the news now. All right. So you guys could keep posting in there. I'm going to advance us to the next slide, which is another discussion group. Because the thing is that we need routines in the morning and we need them in the evening. So what's your end of day routine, both at school and at home? So yesterday I got home and I realized I'm super tired when I get home, and I slide my shoes off and I don't untie them. So yesterday I was like, okay, I'm going to untie my shoes in the evening, make that a new routine. So in the morning, I don't have to untie my shoes before I put them on. And it's super simple, super easy. It doesn't take that long. But we're going to put you back in rooms and have you do the same thing again. You might be with new people, but thinking about end of day, both at school or at home, and coming up with an idea of something you can do, a routine you can start to do to make your life a little bit easier at the end of the day. Ready, go. Send them away. Morgan, good work.
all right. We're coming back from our second breakout discussion. Everyone should be back in just a moment.
And as you're coming back into the room, again, we're asking if you want to throw an idea in the chat, one idea you came up with or heard somebody say they thought was a good idea that we could share out later to the people that weren't here, perhaps. So if you can add to the chat one idea for the end of the day routine. Lori, I need to exercise too. That's totally my goal. Go for a walk, yes. Oh, clear the devices. Again, I see it, avoiding the news being mentioned. Yes. Great ideas. So you guys keep posting those in there. I'm so happy to see them. And Morgan and I were talking while you were in the breakout rooms about getting this list collated, maybe fancy it up a bit and sending it back out to everybody so that you'll have lots of ideas to consider. But really, it's what's most important is what's going to work for you. So I'm going to move on a little bit. And one more thing I want to say about routine. So I've been reading this book in my car on Audible called Atomic Habits by James Clear. And it's really good. And it talks about habits and routines. And the thing I really liked, he talked about habit stacking, how you can add a habit onto something else. And that way you'll remember to do it because you've connected them. So after I take my shoes off when I get home, I will untie them. So I always take my shoes off. And now I've said I'm going to put those two together. So that's habit stacking. Or my chiropractor told me to stretch my neck while I'm in the shower. So after I wash my hair, I will stretch my neck in the shower. So you can create these stacks to help you remember to do something. And the last part of the personal support was about connections. And I think it was maybe Nicole in the chat mentioned about when she gets home, making some connections with others. And this is one of the things that was also mentioned in the book. And I thought about that, especially when we all went to the pandemic remote learning last spring, we lost the connections with our colleagues. And now, even this year, we're all so busy. I'm at school, but we don't see each other. I saw a teacher yesterday and I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't seen you all year. And we really haven't. So who are the people? We all have our connections at home, of course, which is lucky, but who are the people that we need to connect with outside our home? In Module 1, it mentions specifically outside our home. So this is a picture of me and my best teaching colleague friend, Iris Eichenlaub. She's our librarian and my partner in thinking about professional development. And she's an important connection for me. And so when we are remote, especially, what we do is every once in a while, we just send each other a Marco Polo video, which is just a recorded video to the other that they can play when they have time. And that was a really helpful connection when we were so distanced. So it's important to think about connections. So we're going to throw you in another chat room and ask you to share who you have in your life as a connection. So you sort of think about who is the person that helps me to connect with outside your home, and how often are you currently connecting with them? And then brainstorm how you might increase that connection, and then jot down that idea for yourself. This will be a little shorter. I think we might just reduce this down to 5 minutes instead of 6. All right, Morgan, send them out again. Hopefully everyone's finding their breakout room.
Once again, I was having a discussion with you.
Oh, I didn't hear you.
Okay, I am resuming the recording as we come back from our third breakout discussion.
So welcome back, folks. And you don't have to share out in the chat on this one, because it's kind of a personal, private thing, thinking about your connection. And I do hope that you've thought of somebody that you want to connect with and how you can do it in our situation that we have right now. Virtual tends to be the best thing, but we need to connect. We need those connections. They don't have to be all the time, but we do need to look for them. And I have been putting on here, jot down these ideas that you're coming up with. I hope that you're writing them down so that you'll remember them tomorrow, because our brain capacity is a little shot this year. Okay. So the later part of the chapter talks about physical support and how are we helping ourselves physically this year. They talked about stress management, healthy eating, sleep, and exercise. They're all so important and so connected. And the better we do these physical support things right now, the more we have a reduced level of stress, and we have more to give our students and our families and our friends. So stress management, it's important because this is very stressful right now. So I want to do a little activity, something to think about. It's a little to do versus to be activity. So if you have paper, I want you to write something down. First, I want you to write to do, like a to-do list. Like today, I had to do my grades and turn them in. So I want you to write down 3 things you need to do in the next 24 hours, just 3 things. Now, below that list, I want you to write to be. So your to-do list, those are things you have to take care of. But to be is how you want to be or feel in the next 24 hours. So every day I do this. I set my intention. Today, I wanted to be productive. Last week, I wanted to be calm, stress-free. So I want you to write down at least one thing that you want to be versus need to do. And then below that, one of those things, if you've written more than one, just pick one. Below that, write what is one small step you can do to be that way. One small step you can do to be the way that you wrote down. If you're feeling like you would like to share what you put down for your to be and the one small step to be that thing, if you want to share that in the chat, feel free. It might be interesting for others to see what you came up with. And then maybe, yeah, we need to take some deep breaths while we think about this, how we want to be versus to do. To do makes us not breathe, but to be helps us slow down and take a breath. Thanks for those of you that are posting things in the chat. Oh yeah, I'm going to bed at 8 tonight. Thank you so much for sharing those in the chat. Keep posting them. We're gonna move on a little bit more. So in the physical support category, they also talked about healthy eating. And you know, so many people in the pandemic, especially with stress, we tend to eat comfort food, which makes us feel worse, which makes us more stressed. So it's a bad cycle. And right now, more than ever, if we eat healthy, we will feel better, we will feel less stressed, we will have more to give to those who need it from us. And so thinking about healthy eating, I know for me, my norm would be to comfort eat and gain weight when I am stressed. And this year with the pandemic, I've actually lost 20 pounds already. Hard to believe. And the huge part of that was healthy eating, huge. We really changed our eating habits. So what is one thing that you could do, one change that you could make to eat more healthy right now? Thinking about your current eating habits, what is one change you could make to eat more healthy? Can you think of one thing and put that in the chat? Like, I eat a salad every day for lunch, and that has really changed my health. What's one thing you could do to eat more healthy? Put that in the chat. Oh, sugars and carbs, not good for us. Thank you for sharing those. Appreciate it. Kim Barnes, I would like to know what you're going to graze. What do you mean by graze? Okay, we're going to move on to the next one, sleep. Oh my gosh, sleep is so important right now. So important. Are you getting enough sleep? We're supposed to get 8 hours of sleep. That's the theory. For me, Morgan and I were just talking, she's not getting enough sleep. She's going to bed around 9. She's getting up way too early. How can you change your habits so that you get better sleep? For me, it's so important that I get my 8 hours and I have more energy in the day. And this is an exhausting year, so we need all the energy we can get. I get 8 hours of sleep. I head up to bed at 8 o'clock. I'm usually asleep by 9 after I do some reading. And then I get up at 5:30. So I'm getting my 8 hours of sleep. What could you do differently to improve your sleep habits? I know, even though I'm getting 8 hours of sleep, one bad thing I do is before I read, I scroll through my phone. So I should change that habit. So what is one change you can make to sleep better? And if you could post that in the chat as well. Yes, Kim, do not check your email before bed. All right. Nancy's almost convinced me that nighttime showers are good when she said it relaxes your muscles. That's actually a good point. Thank you. Keep posting in there. All right. And then the last thing they talked about was exercise. And I was pretty good for a little bit. When we went into the pandemic, I bought myself a recumbent bike in the house. I was watching videos, TED Talks while I was riding this little bike. And then the summer came and I was working hard in my garden. So that was super good exercise. But since school started, I just feel like I don't have time. So what do you need to do for exercise? What's the one thing you need to do? One change, and it doesn't have to be a lot. It can be short, it can be small, it can be a 5-minute walk. It can be lifting some soup cans 10 times. What is one thing you can do, one change you can make to improve your exercise, to move your body some more, because you will feel better if you move more. Thanks for posting. Yeah, you know, Joy mentioned standing while teaching when remote. Standing, it makes a big difference. I have a standing desk at school, and I just bought one for my home so that when I go remote, part or full time, I can stand while I'm teaching. It makes a big difference. Good suggestions. Thank you so much. So I want to talk a little bit about, you know, we've put a lot of ideas there, and I'm sure you guys have a lot of ideas, but another thing I learned from this Atomic Habits book by James Clear, he talked about an implementation intention. And he says, if you connect a behavior with time and location, you are more likely to do it. So if I intend to exercise, which I do, but I haven't done yet, I need to create an implementation intention. So for instance, the examples are, I will eat a salad at lunchtime in my classroom. I do that now. I made that intention. I'll make my partner a cup of coffee at 6 a.m. in the kitchen. Notice there's time and location. So for me, I'm going to make this commitment to all of you. I will ride my recumbent bike at 5 in the morning in my study where the bike is. So there it is. I have made my implementation intention. If you want to read more about it, there's a link on here. And again, Morgan will send the slideshow out to you, but I think it's a really good way of trying to set yourself up for success with creating a habit or an intention or routine. If you want to put your implementation intention in the chat, just sort of to put it out there in the world and maybe make it a little more formal so it'll happen. I think that's another way to make things happen that we want to do, is by sharing them out loud to someone else or writing them down. We're going to try one more breakout group if you have the time to stay. Thinking about all of these areas of physical support and getting a chance to talk with a group and share the area that you really want to focus on. Because here's the thing, this is a lot of different things. You can't do it all. What's the one thing as far as physical support, whether it's healthy eating, sleep, or exercise? What is the one thing that you really want to make a commitment to? In your group, share that. Share why you selected it and brainstorm what you can implement, and think about that implementation behavior and speak it aloud to that small group. Ready, go. Ready, go, Morgan. Send them to their groups. There they go, to the races. All right, Morgan, you got this. I think I'll go join a breakout group just to listen in a little. You're on mute if you're talking to me, just so you know.
No, I was just, I got some messages from folks who had to leave. So I was just trying to recreate the breakout rooms.
Oh, well, it looks like it worked. So I'm gonna go peek in on this little breakout room and then I'll come back. Do you have a timer going?
I do.
Okay, and then we just close, so we're not too far off.
All right, most of them have 3 now.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, I forgot my computer. It's funny, like when you're the presenter, you can't join a breakout room. When you're like sharing your screen, like it won't let me join on this computer, but
Right.
it's letting me on the other computer, but I have.
And we're coming back from the 4th discussion and the recording has resumed.
So welcome back from the discussion rooms. We have a few more popping in. It looks like that might be about it. So just coming to a close, because we did say an hour, we're a little bit over, but they mentioned this in the module. There's a reason that flight attendants tell us to put our oxygen mask on first. There's a reason they decided to make the first play in the playbook about taking care of ourselves. We have to take care of ourselves first so that we can take care of others. And we have a lot of others to care for with our students and our families and friends. So my big question to you is, how will you take care of yourself first this winter? For me, winter's a big time. My birthday's in December. I always go to Psychology in Portland. If you've never been there, it's phenomenal. So when the pandemic isn't as bad, it's an awesome place to relax and enjoy yourself. How will you take care of yourself this winter, especially with the conditions that we are in? So thanks, all of you. We're gonna save space for anybody that wants to ask questions. I put my contact info there. Thought I'd end with a funny picture of my chicken buddy that likes to jump on our heads and backs. And our next session is Tuesday, December 1st, 3:30 to 5. This one is going to be an hour and a half. It's got 2 modules, teacher clarity, and then the second module is on feedback assessment and grading. And I will be doing part of that one along with Brandon Terrell. So we hope you'll be able to make it back for that one, but it will also be recorded. So I'm gonna quit sharing the screen, but if you want to ask questions or make a comment, or if you just want to go, please go and take care of yourself. Thank you for coming so much.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks, Kate.
Patty, you're great. What was
Thank
the,
you.
just repeat the date for the next session.
Was it December 1st, Morgan?
Tuesday, December 1st at 3:30. And I will send you all reminders.
Nice.
Thank you.
All right.